Yo, what's up, guys? Parasite here, bringing you another video. So today I wanted to talk about what I really like about the game and what I am worried about when it comes to the game, and maybe some of the things I dislike. With the game, being released and me playing basically 18 hours on the first day, doing a 24-hour stream, I feel like I have a decent understanding of, the maps, modes. I also have a decent understanding of, what I just really like in terms of the gameplay and the movement and all that stuff. And yeah, I just want to talk about that stuff. So let's first talk about the things I like, right? Let's give the game some credit here. I like the variety of weapons in the game. There's a ton of them to use. They all feel very unique. And, a couple of them are quite fun to use, while some of them are a little lackluster. But hey, listen, the variety of weapons is awesome. And I like how some of them are very niche and, useful in certain situations. I also really like the maps, man. The maps are very fun. There's a ton of them. A lot of variety in terms of maps, in terms of the ways they play. Some maps have a lot longer sightlines, which allow things like snipers to be very fun. Some of the maps are very CQC, which allows SMGs to thrive a little bit. And then, some of them are a little bit more balanced, where you can pretty much pick any sort of playstyle and have it work for you. I also really like the wall jumping mechanic. I didn't find myself spamming it. I didn't find myself abusing it all the time. I felt like it was very useful to get around the map and, created some interesting routes that you could take, or places where you can kind of finesse and just be really annoying, which I found really fun. I felt like the one thing though is that the wall bouncing didn't incorporate very well onto some of the, remakes in the game, which it makes sense. They weren't really made with wall bouncing in mind, but nonetheless, I still like the mechanic. I feel like the sliding in this game was balanced really well as well. It doesn't feel like you slide as far or as fast as you did in Black Ops 6, where it pretty much made it so it was the only way to engage. I still found myself pre-aiming quite a bit to get kills, or doing things, like jump shotting in the game to get kills, strafe jumping. So I really like that. I still am not sure how this is going to develop as the game goes on, but I really liked it nonetheless. I liked all the camos that I saw in the game, having all of the prestige camos, having all of the mastery camos. They all look freaking amazing. They did a really good job, the art team, with the whole camos and stuff like that. So I'm loving it, man. I got tons of stuff to grind before ranked releases, but I'm really enjoying it. As far as I can tell from the game, I think the spawns worked fairly okay for 6v6. They did add some new spawns, which I will talk about in the next part of the video, but overall I didn't think it was too bad for launch. Usually on launch, spawns are freaking terrible on most of the maps, but it felt pretty easy to tell where people were coming from most of the time. So I think they did a decent job there for release. Obviously, whenever we start to play the game competitively and things are a little bit more organized in a 4v4 setting, maybe my opinion will change. But for now, in 6v6, it felt okay. I didn't play any zombies or campaign yet, so I don't have any opinions on those yet. But as far as the multiplayer front, man, I think this is one of the most fun multiplayers we've had in a very long time. Like I said, I love the maps, dude. Den is awesome. All of the beta maps are pretty good. The only map I remember that I don't actually like too much is Imprint. And then I think there's another Western themed map. I actually have the game pulled up. Yeah, I have the list of maps now. Blackheart's a great pub map. Colossus has competitive potential. I like that one. Cortex has competitive potential, but for a smaller map, I really liked it. Den was a lot of fun. I love the aesthetic of it. Exposure was good. Express is good. Flagship is a fun pub map. I feel like it's that close quarters, map. It's like a shipping yard, but it also just didn't feel claustrophobic. It didn't give me that whole like shipment vibe where I'm just sitting there just getting shot from everywhere. It felt like it was very fun to play. Hijacked brought back a lot of nostalgia. It's a fun pub map, man. It's a lot of chaos. The underground is very funny if you go down there with like a shotgun. Homestead, very beautiful map. I'm not sure if it'll play well in competitive. It's maybe a little bit too open on the ends, and the swimming aspect of it is kind of cringe, but overall I didn't really mind it. It looked very nice as well. Imprint, didn't like. Raid is great. Retrieval is great. Scar, the aesthetic of it is nice, but I just felt like certain areas in the map were just far too bland, especially out towards the like sand dune side where it's just like one trench, and just, I don't know. I didn't really like that portion of the map, but the rest of it didn't seem too bad. The Forge was great in the beta. Toshin, they are adding that area to get to the top of the train yard in season 1. So you'll notice if you go and play Toshin now, it's not there, but it is coming. And when that comes, I think I'll like the map a lot better. But overall, for map sets here, I'm loving it, man. They did a great job, and I couldn't be happier. But yeah, everything was pretty fun, man. Multiplayer was great. I got to Prestige 2, level 31 on the first day of grinding, and I got a ton of guns done gold. I feel like this year the camo challenges are not nearly as hard, but now we're going to get into the things that I'm worried about, or the things, I might not like about the game. And the first thing that I'm going to start with, and the reason I said but after the camo grind not being too hard, is, well, some of the guns in the game, a lot of the guns in the game are pretty lackluster. Some of them have either ridiculously long ADS times, where even if you buff them, they're still pretty slow. But also, if you choose to buff them, some of these guns have such insane recoil that they are impossible to control. And again, listen, I love that they added recoil to this game in a lot of the weapons, because they did. They added a ton of it. But they nerfed the aim assist so hard that some of these guns' recoil patterns with the nerfed aim assist, it's damn near impossible to track properly. So people are gravitating not to the best guns in the game, the ones that statistically might have the higher times to kill, ones that have good range. People are literally just using the guns with the lowest amount of recoil in the game in pubs, right? Outside of people doing camos, people are just going to guns like the M15. They're going to guns like the Dravik, going to guns like the AK. Is it the AK? I think it's an AK. See what the name of it is. Yeah, the M15, the AK-27, right? People are using guns like the Dravik, right? People aren't using the other weapons because the recoil is just too egregious. Some of these guns are just so hard to shoot. And this is coming from me. I'm a pro player, next pro player. But people come to my stream all the time and they're like, oh my God, you got a Cronus and stuff like that, because I control recoil so well. Some of these guns are genuinely abysmal, where if you stack recoil or use recoil attachments a decent amount, they don't help nearly enough, or you just make your gun into the slowest aiming in weapon as possible. So personally, for me, I don't think they should go the route of nerfing the guns that are easier to use. I think they just need to buff the other weapons. There just needs to be a little bit more of a balance, right? Some of these guns are just so lackluster that doing those camo challenges, like for example, I'm a good player, right? Obviously, whenever I would play other games and do their camo challenges, I try to avoid going into hardcore mode as much as possible. Reason being is, being a good player, I can use that skill to do most of my things in core playlists where I'm not getting one-tapped by noobs that are just camping in a corner, or, just killing me in one bullet across the map in hardcore. I can abuse the fact that I have good aim, right? Or good for the time with that whole aim assist. Good recoil control to go in and get these headshots. Especially, I notice it with the SMGs, right? The SMGs are recoiling like crazy. Their time to kill is not as quick, especially at medium range now, because they nerf the damage ranges a lot on the weapons. So naturally, now it's a lot harder to get a headshot in multiplayer, in the normal multiplayer with SMGs. I used to be able to average around 20 to 30 a game. Now, if I'm using an SMG, I'm averaging around 15 a game, maybe 20 if I have a really good game in core. So now I have to go to hardcore to go back to averaging that 20 to 30 a game in terms of headshots. And that's me, a pro, right? For casual players or people that may not be as good, this is going to be a lot more difficult, and it's going to create a lot of frustration, because again, they nerf the aim assist a lot, which I think is fine. I think aim assist should be where it's at. I know some casual players might not agree with that, and maybe they end up, falling into that and buffing it just a little bit, which overall may not make that big of a difference. But I think the guns are just way too lackluster, and a lot of them are way too hard to control, where people are just now gravitating towards the guns that are easy as fuck to shoot, because the rest of them are so egregiously bad that the weapon balance in the game just doesn't make sense. SMGs in this game are just poor. You'll notice a lot of people on social media have also said that some of the SMGs in this game are just not very good. Where if you go and use the M15 or the AK or the Peacekeeper even, these guns are just 10 times better. So yeah, I think they need to work on the gun balance in the game, especially with the ARs and the SMGs. Overall, shotguns, LMGs are fine. I think the MK7A is the first LMG I did. Maybe it aims in too slow. Maybe that's okay. Outside of that, I didn't really use too many more of the weapons outside of the assault rifles and submachine guns right now. But Yeah, gun balance is definitely a concern of mine, and I think it's something that they need to work on. Okay, next we're going to talk about the matchmaking. I know a lot of people said, that there was secret SBMM in the game, that Activision and stuff like that was lying, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily lying, but the open playlist definitely doesn't feel like the open playlist all the time. Maybe that's just because there's just more players on, or there's not as many players on, or maybe people got better. But I think the beta matchmaking was noticeably quicker, and I also think it didn't take skill into account as much as it currently does. I believe there's still some SBMM in the game. I could be wrong, but it feels that way, and I'll tell you why. When you go to search, it just takes a longer time to find a game. In the beta, when I clicked search for a game, it got me in a game like that. Now I still find myself waiting for games. That could also be due to persistent lobbies, right? So not as many people are looking for new games, but I'm not entirely sold on the fact that matchmaking is, what they say it is. Maybe that could be me being paranoid, but I don't think I am. Also, I've noticed that if you're in the open playlist and you have a couple of rough games, right? Let's say you are going for camos and you're just getting clapped on in the open playlist. Go into the standard playlist, every once in a while, look for a game, and sometimes you'll get an easy ass lobby. Because I did it earlier, and I went to a standard playlist with some of my friends, and we got into a insanely easy lobby because, again, less people are searching in there, or maybe bad players are trying to hide in their skill-based playlist. I don't know, but yeah, I think matchmaking overall is not as good as it was in the beta. Okay, next we're gonna talk about calling cards. I know some of the calling cards in the game, they used AI to kind of make them and stuff like that. I know I was supposed to talk about things I didn't like, but overall, listen, I don't mind that they did that. I'll be honest. If AI allows them to focus on things that actually matter, like gameplay, for example, I do not care. Let them use whatever the hell they want, put out art. If it's for paid things, like for example, if they use AI for like operators, I don't like that, right? Because if I'm going to buy something, I want something that was made and curated and looks really nice. But if it's just like a standard free feature in the game and it allows them to focus on building other things, then by all means use it. But overall, honestly, I didn't have that many negative things to say about the game. I really like this game, man, from a multiplayer perspective. Obviously, as I keep playing the game, or as updates happen, or as I start to play the competitive aspects of the game, maybe my opinions are going to change in certain ways. But from a multiplayer perspective, I've really enjoyed this game a lot. And my main gripe with the game, seriously, is just the gun balance. I think the gun balance is abysmal, and I think they need to work on it. But yeah, that's going to do it for me, man. If you guys really enjoyed this video, man, hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys agree with some of the things I'm saying, or if you disagree with some of the things I'm saying, go into the comments below and let me know your guys' takes. If you guys have any things you guys don't like about the game, or maybe you guys want to say some positive things about the game, you're also more than welcome to jump in the comments and let me know what you think. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Y'all later. Peace.